If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience using it as a regular city ride. The kind of thing I grab for commuting, errands, and quick trips when I do not feel like dealing with parking. What this bike really is, in day-to-day life, is a compact electric bike that folds down small enough to live in a tight apartment corner or slide next to a desk. I ended up using it for rides that were a couple of miles each way, sometimes longer, with real traffic, cracked pavement, and the occasional rough patch where the road is basically a patchwork of repairs. If you are someone who wants something you can store easily, or you need a bike that fits better in limited space, this design makes sense. If you are looking for a long-distance cruiser or something you can comfortably pedal like a full-size bicycle all day, you should know going in that the smaller wheel size changes the feel. Sitting right here in front of me, the first thing I noticed when I started using it was how solid the frame feels for something that folds. It is not a delicate, thin frame. It feels more like it was built to take daily use and the occasional bump without getting weird flecks or creaks. The finish held up better than I expected, because my routine includes locking it outside for short stops, leaning it against walls, and rolling it through doorways. I did pick up a few little scuffs over time, but nothing that made me worry about rust right away. The overall look is modern and compact, but not in a way that draws a ton of attention. It looks like a practical commuter. The folding part is straightforward once you do it a few times. The first day, I was a little slow because I was double-checking that everything latched correctly, but after that it became a quick routine. In my apartment, the folded size is the difference between a bike that becomes a daily habit and a bike that just annoys me. I can fold it, roll it, and tuck it where it is not in the way. I will say, though, it is not a light bike. When I need to lift it, like getting it up a few steps or into a trunk, I feel the weight. I can do it, but I do not enjoy it. If you have to carry it up several flights of stairs every day, that would get old fast. The 14-inch wheels are the other big part of the experience. In traffic, the compact size makes it feel easy to place the bike where I want it. It is quick to maneuver at lower speeds, and it stores easily. But smaller wheels also react more to road imperfections. The suspension setup helps, and I will talk about that, but you still feel sharper edges more than you would on a bigger wheel bike. For normal city streets, it is fine. For badly broken roads, you need to stay alert and pick your line. On comfort, I was honestly surprised. The seat has enough padding that I do not dread longer rides, and the shock absorption under the seat takes the sting out of potholes and uneven pavement. I tested it on a stretch of road near me with rough patches and a few areas that are basically small craters. It did not float over them, but it kept the ride from feeling harsh. The handlebars and riding position felt natural for short to medium rides. When I pushed into longer rides, I found myself shifting around a bit, which is normal for this style of compact bike. It is comfortable enough that I actually use it often, and that matters more to me than a seat that feels good only in a showroom. Setup was mostly painless. Mine arrived mostly assembled. I still had to take my time checking bolts, aligning the handlebars to my height, and making sure the tires were inflated properly. I always do a quick once-over on any bike like this, because shipping can knock things out of alignment. After that, it was basically ready to ride. The display was easy enough to understand without feeling like I needed to study it. I mainly use it for speed, trip distance, and battery level, and it gives me that without being cluttered. The motor feel is what most people care about, and in real riding it is strong enough for city use. The 400-watt rating matters because it tells you it is not just a gentle assist. When I pull away from a stoplight, it gets moving without me having to stomp on the pedals. That makes it less stressful in traffic. On hills, it handles the kind of slopes I actually see in a city. It is not magic, but it does not feel like it is giving up halfway up. I can climb without arriving sweaty and annoyed. When I kept the pace reasonable and rode smoothly, it felt consistent. If I rode aggressively, starting and stopping hard and trying to keep top speed all the time, I could watch the battery drop faster, which is exactly what I expect on any electric bike. Speed-wise, it feels fast enough to stay with city flow where bicycles belong, and it does not feel sketchy as long as the road is decent. With smaller wheels, I do not personally want to bomb down rough streets at max speed. On clean bike lanes and smoother pavement, it feels controlled. On rough pavement, I naturally back off a bit because the road feedback comes through more. Range is always tricky because it depends on rider weight, hills, temperature, wind, and how you ride. What I can say is that for my typical errands and commuting, I am not charging it constantly. I can do multiple days of short trips without stressing, and for longer days I plug it in at night and it is ready the next morning. The removable battery is a big part of that. I can unlock it and bring it inside to charge, which is how I actually live with an electric bike. I do not always have a convenient outlet where the bike is stored, so being able to carry the battery to a desk or a kitchen counter is what makes charging easy. The battery lock also helps with peace of mind when I have to park outside for a bit. Braking feels reliable. It has disc brakes front and rear, and they stop the bike in a controlled way. I tested them in dry conditions and on damp pavement after a light rain. In the wet, I gave myself more distance, but I never had a moment where I pulled the levers and nothing happened. The levers feel smooth, and modulation is predictable. That matters when you are riding around cars and pedestrians. The lighting is genuinely useful. The headlight helps me be seen and also helps me see enough of the road to avoid surprises in low light. The rear light makes a difference when traffic is behind you. The turn signals are a nice touch when they are visible to drivers, especially at dusk. I still use hand signals when it makes sense, but having lights that communicate your movement is helpful when you are riding in busy areas. There is also an alarm system with a key fob. I tested it because I do not trust alarms until I hear them. It is loud, and it definitely draws attention. I actually triggered it by accident once when I moved the bike without thinking, and it made me jump. I would not treat it like it replaces a real lock, but it adds an extra layer when you are parked for a short time. For day-to-day practicality, the little things matter. The display is readable at a glance. The phone holder is convenient for navigation, though I still make sure my phone is secure before I hit bumps. The built-in charging port is useful for topping up a phone on longer rides, but I treat it as an emergency helper, not something I rely on for a full charge. After living with it, my strengths and limitations are pretty clear. The strengths are the compact foldable design, the solid frame feel, the comfortable seat and suspension for typical city surfaces, and the motor power that makes stop-and-go riding easier. The limitations are the weight when you have to carry it, and the smaller wheels when the road gets rough or when you want that big bike stability at higher speeds. It is also not the bike I would choose if my daily ride was very long and I wanted a relaxed, stretched-out riding position. For my actual use, commuting, errands, and tight storage, it fits. If your life looks like mine, limited space, short to medium city rides, occasional hills, and a need to fold and store the bike, this one has been practical. If you know you will be carrying it upstairs daily, or you want a larger wheel ride feel, I would think twice, because those things do not disappear once the excitement of a new bike wears off. I will post full information about the EBKAROCY 14-inch 400-watt foldable electric bike in the comments section. See you in the following videos.